on an adventure somewhere around Hope. Maybe I'll take Kukihala Highway and drive to a frozen lake. That's kind of a rough idea of my plan today, but I don't have a clear goal. The weather is really good, and while I'm driving on the highway and enjoying the scenery, because it's really nice, really nice. You can't find too many places around the world where you have sunshine, you have snow, you have warm weather, you have ocean and rivers and lakes all around the same area. So it's beautiful to be here, and I'm grateful for that. So while I'm driving, I will record some images and I'll talk about a topic that has nothing to do with where I'm going. So I'm going to combine in this video some audio, like my talking, while I record the scenery, because I know that the people who love the financial or the Bitcoin and all that don't really care about the nature thing, the places I'm going to show in the video. So what I do, I'm trying to restrict the number of views, make it super boring for those who want to see the scenery, but at the same time making very boring or not interested or not appealing for those who are trying to learn an opinion about the Bitcoin scam, because from my perspective this is a big scam. And I'm recording this one after I had a longer chat with a friend in the morning. My friend said he wants to invest a couple of thousands of dollars into Bitcoin because it's a Bitcoin craze. Yesterday was news about how well the Bitcoin goes, and lots of people want to jump into the market. But I want to let people know, those who are really interested, about my experience with scammers. It's not everything. I'm just sharing few things that I learned along my journey in my life. And when I was younger, I thought we don't really need these old people and their wisdom. Why we need to pay attention to the old guys, what the old guys are saying? Because I was young and, you know, full of testosterone, and I thought that I'm a bit smarter. And I thought at the time, that the smarts helps you navigate through life. But the thing is, the wise people learn from others' mistakes so they can avoid the pitfalls. The smart ones, they want to prove themselves. They want to prove that they've done it with their own smart, with their own power and abilities. So if you want to save some energy and some resources, when you get into a new adventure, you should check with previous explorers how the adventure has been, what's the roadblock ahead, what type of preparation you need to make in order to avoid their mistakes, right? So the pioneers generally are courageous people who have the drive to move things ahead and open new doors and new ways and new avenues. Then the wise ones are coming after to reap the rewards. I used to call those kind of a sneaky people, you know, taking advantage of my discoveries, because I've done some explorations in my life, and I figured that my discoveries and my hard work was being used by other people who use my experience and my mistakes on their own for their own advantage. So that's the way life it works. And about Bitcoin and what experience, I can describe one of the old Romanian scam, like a huge scam that was going on for a few years and took the whole country. Almost everyone I knew invested money into that scam. It was a pyramidal scheme. It was an organization named Caritas. And this name usually comes from humanitarian organizations or something like that, when it's all about, how to help people, how to care, they care about people and how they help people. But this financial organization was something that was really well organized and was really invited at the time when nobody knew about pyramidal schemes. I mean, everyone knew about some sort of lottery games, which is on another pyramidal scheme, and I'll get into that in a few moments. So right here I'm on Highway 1, just past the town of Hope in British Columbia, and I'm going to join the Coquihalla Highway. And if my SD card is not going to fail on me, it did that several times. It's made by a well-known company. And I have only had troubles with this type of brand, but anyways, cheap brand. Is called SanDisk. So famous because you find them everywhere, but doesn't mean it's a good quality. So if that SD card won't fail on me, shutting down my whole recording, then I'll have the time to record some footage of how the weather changes while I'm driving up the mountain of Coquihalla. So the Caritas pyramidal scheme, just after 1990s, when it was like a wild west in Romania, the new government, the guys who managed to get the former president killed with the help of an external intervention. So it was a well-organized setup, like you see in other countries, or you saw in other countries, including Iraq. Those guys did not have a clear set of new laws for the new society. So the society was shifting from communism to capitalism or whatever bullshit, and people were now confused because there were restrictions before 1989, and now suddenly everyone has the rights to do everything. You see guns, you see people bringing all sorts of stuff, including drugs and expired medicine and medical equipment with humanitarian aid. I know that because I was volunteering, sorting out stuff that was supposed to go to hospitals and pharmacies and all that. So lots of garbage, including the mentality from the West, entered Romania at the time. And it was a land of opportunities, including for foreign investors, including for child molesters. Lots of stories of people coming, including from Canada, people coming to adopt little kids from orphanages, because you could see in the West some stories about poor kids in Romanian orphanages in need for a parent to be saved from that rough environment and stuff. So probably true, some of the stuff, but people were coming here, were doing like a bribing officials, getting kids and moving the kids out of the country. Lots of kids were part of gypsy families who could not afford to keep the kid, and there were stories of not stories, like on TV, maybe fake, maybe not, gypsies selling kids for $500 or something selling kids because they had too many, like 7, 8, 10 kids, and yeah, okay, I have too many, like yeah, how about I sell two? And selling not really to make money, but to offer a better life to the kid. So now this child molesters and all those people came to this land of opportunities, and in the financial world the same thing. So now some guys came up with this idea of having a let's call it game. They call it a game, but it was a pyramidal scheme because nobody knew what's that. So they were asking people to invest an amount of money. Then after a number of weeks, when the game was getting traction, they would double the amount, which a bank would never be able to match that type of gain in a short term. So we in old days we had one of the kind of a saving union type. It was a national, at the national level. It was authorized by the government. Maybe it was part of the government, I don't know. But people were winning prizes. Like I have a neighbor. I had a neighbor who won 2 cars. Was a lucky guy. He won 2 Romanian cars, Romanian-made cars over the years by participating in that game. So I heard other people winning big prizes like that. And I think my parents had some money into that type of I don't know if a credit union or some sort of a, but it was a legal form of financial organization. And I don't know the structure of it. I was too young to understand how it works. But since nobody complained about it and everyone was cool with that, it probably was all right from the legal point of view. But this one, the new one, the new one was paying people better than any bank in the world. So you double money within a couple of months. And now the thing is, big political leaders who used to be part of the communist party and who knew and had connections, and now they started their own businesses because they knew people in the key positions, and lots of people who used to be those should I say cocksuckers in the political party. They knew how to manipulate people. They knew how to climb the ladder, because you find this type of people in every society. It's part of the human nature, is in their DNA. So humans are like that. Everywhere you go, you will find some people like that. So those people had connections in all level, like connected people. Let's call it powerful people, and they knew how to handle others, how to grow businesses, and how to get money, how to borrow money, and those people in key positions, including into the new governments, because lots of them, they were part of the Communist Party, praising the old communist president, and now suddenly they are with some other political party. They are like, oh yeah, I know, we hate communists, we are whatever. So that's side of the story, but is part of the big picture. How the society kind of works, and people use each other or people take advantage of other people. It's like it's a Wild West everywhere, but in some places the Wild West have some laws and some structure that prevent people to get too wild and to take from others, right? So like in Canada, it's let's call it more civilized countries, and without the laws and measures in place, you will see people like that who would rip you off in the daylight. And it happens all the times. If you look at a lot of companies, or most companies, if the employee is not asking for more money, the management would not increase the salary, right? It's like if you don't cry, you don't get it. Again, it's human nature. So those guys in this Caritas scheme I'm talking about, so the big name political guys or new business people had lots of cash, including cash they made in the old communist days. Doesn't matter what type of methods they use. They started investing in this pyramidal scheme because nobody called it an illegal game or a pyramidal scheme, and since nobody went against those people who organized this thing, everyone appeared happy. It's like it was a frenzy. Everyone was making money, and what I know, my dad had some money, some savings, and he was going with the flow. My dad is a follower. It's okay, you know. People has to there have to be a number of followers in the world, or a majority. So my dad followed the trends and the crowds because the world goes around. There was no internet at the time, and neighbors, and I hear stories. Neighbors, they sell properties, sell horses, sell pieces of land to make cash, so they can go with the cash, because those guys, they did not have like oh yeah, transfer your money through PayPal or some bank account. No, you go with a bag of cash or something after you sold your farm or something, and you deposit the money into a small kind of an office thing. So you go to a small window. Behind the window, it's someone who's working for that organization is taking your money, record your deposits, and next one in line. And now they started to have offices all across the country. And I remember when my dad was going to line up, because you can't just go like you go to the bank. No, there were some offices, but there were huge lineups. So my dad spent three nights or something, some crazy stuff, waiting in line to get to deposit your money. Because at the same time, the same office, where the lineup was not only to deposit money, but also for cashing. So people were cashing out. But also, the most people, what the mistake were doing, they were they call it reinvest money. And so people had to go to that office. Like I said, it was no online system, nothing like that. So you have to go there. So they had like a big record books or whatever, and you wait in line. And if you have more money, you deposit the money. But if you previously deposited money into that game, you could ask to retrieve some of the money if you were smart, or actually you don't take the money, but let's say if you have 5,000 euros or dollars or something into your account with that company, and you say and they doubled the money, and now suddenly you have 10,000. You can take the 10,000, which is not their money, is the money of the new investors, the new participants in the game. Because the game, the pyramidal scheme games, they keep growing as long as they have the new fish in the pond, the new meat. But at some point, this thing should go stagnant, and it did went stagnant, and this is a big game. So I'm still on Coquihalla. The weather is perfect. I know it. I enjoy it. Now I'm 20 minutes into this recording. I'm trying to make it short, but like I said, I have lots of experiences, and I know what I'm trying to say about Bitcoin. So people had that choice to take the money and keep it and go home, Or if they were very greedy, they would say, oh yeah, I want to double this one, this 5,000, and I'll make, in a few months I'll make 10,000, because they kind of knew. I don't know I forgot how the game was going, the news was going around, because nobody was calling you to tell you, oh yeah, your money doubled. I think it was kind of a you go there and you kind of know in 3 months or something. I don't know. I forgot. I would have to ask my dad. But at some point, when almost everyone in the country, almost everyone, I was not one of those. I was a kid, but probably most of families around had money into that. It was slowing down. So people at the top were not doubling their millions of dollars, and people at the bottom were not doubling their $1,000, 1,000 euros, or whatever. There was no euro at the time, but 1,000 something. And people started to notice that, okay, it's kind of slowing down. It takes much longer to get double my investment. And some people started to take the money out. Say, I doubled, I played the game, it was fun, I got lots of money, I'm good, I'm smart, I'm going home. But my dad was still in the game, and he lost everything the money invested. Because the game went belly up. And how it did, it's really interesting. So people at the top knew everything. Of course, they had these offices across the country, so they knew the numbers. They were up, like on top of everything was going on at every office, like how much money was coming in, how much money was going out, and all that. And suddenly we saw on TV a criminal investigation. The police, the newly Romanian police, they were doing lots of things, anti-corruption, anti-bribery, and all that. They were very aggressive at the time. Some of those were for show, some of those were real, but something was going on. And now they started to arrest people in who were part of the game, like employees, who were organizing. And the top of the game ran out of the country, the head of the game. So he ran out of the country with nobody could find the hidden accounts, and there were stories and after stories and after stories on TV, like a media. At least once a week we could see on TV the news about Caritas game, because everyone wanted to know what happened with my money. Did they found the Swiss accounts? Because rumors were going that those monies were hidden into some Switzerland banks and all that. Like every crooks in the world, they use these little banks in Switzerland. It's like I don't know now these days. Nowadays they have different other like islands and stuff. So I'm not familiar with financial schemes that are going around with like mutual funds and bitcoins. But people steal money, like they fool other people using all sorts of methods. They take the loads of cash, and they put into this safe havens or whatever. Nobody knows. I mean, only the connoisseurs know what's going on, where you can store the money safely without going through the tax system and all that, and how to get the money out of the country. All these things are known by people at the top of the financial world, because that's the way most criminals from being a criminal get to the top, and now some of those lead like a big companies, because they became expert in stealing your money. And So that pyramidal game failed. But why it failed? Because people started to lose money and people complained. And you expect that any pyramidal game would fail at some point when there's not enough supply of new cash coming in from the new subscribers. The same thing with multi-level marketing schemes. It's a pyramidal game. The people at the top, or even people somewhere at the middle, they will still make money as long as the people underneath, the ones they recruited, are able to recruit more. But it's harder and harder for the new recruits to find new people investing their time and money and become a new recruiter. So before, instead of being a recruit, it has to be a recruiter. So recruit more, hire more people into the game. So you get my point. I'm trying to pay attention to the mountains at the same time, and drive, of course. Now, Bitcoin. So to finish this Caritas game, which was interesting, a really interesting learning experience to see how people exploit each other. It's very similar to the lottery game, and why the lottery is legal when everyone is hoping that others will lose. So when someone wins, means other people are losing. There is no extra cash coming in, unless it's some sort of a retirement fund and they use the cash as an investment, and they use the cash to grow the money. Which, if you follow the money, if you track the money, and if that cash goes into some mutual funds and some other schemes, like financial schemes, the money comes out of nowhere. So let's say if it's a mutual fund or some sort of an investment opportunity, or maybe a company is growing their portfolio, or maybe the company is jumping their assets value overnight without putting more energy into that company. How is possible in the world without adding energy to a thing? Doesn't matter if it's human energy, mental energy like intelligence, or material energy like maybe someone just came from another planet and dumped a bunch of new equipment and machinery and technology, and that grew the company value. But how come it's possible to see a company who is getting 10-20% increase of their asset value just overnight because of some news? Some president is saying something about that company, or the company is making some false claims about how good they are doing or something, all sorts of scams. And how possible is that without adding extra extra energy to that company, the company goes richer overnight? Now, these mutual funds invest in that company, or these pension funds are also investing in mutual funds, and all starts with a scam. It's like, okay, I have 20 companies and my name is some bully politician, and I invest some money into Facebook so I can get elected, right? I get elected and I get to be the president of the Rwanda in Africa, let's say, and my stocks go up because the corrupt country, everyone knows that once that guy who owns the 20 companies, once that guy goes to the power, gets the power, he is able to manipulate the market. He's able to pull some strings and make his company grow. And everyone is going to invest in those companies. So now his 20 companies are all going up on the market. Because what? Because he got to be president, or people emotions change their perspective about the added value. So with the Caritas game, the guy, let's see, I am 31 into the video. So you see how the weather changes here. But it's still warm outside. I think it's +1, +2. The guy later came back to the country, if I remember correctly. There was a guy who showed up in a wheelchair. He was dying of cancer, and he kind of came back in the country. I don't know, but I saw the guy be coming from the airplane in a wheelchair. It was all messed up, he used to be way younger, but now with the cancer in his bones and stuff, he appeared like a frail and messed up and almost gone. So I don't know why he returned to the country. So I'm not, so don't quote me, I'm not quite sure if that was the guy, but one of the guys, Stein, I forgot his name, was some sort of a Romanian Jewish name or something. It's possible, very possible, that guy was the one who came back, the guy who scammed all these people. And of course people were really angry, you know. Probably lots of people were happy to see this guy dying. Probably thousands of people were saying, were making comments in their own mind or in their own circle, okay, he deserves that. God punished this guy because country is very religious.